Hi, I'm Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the discontinued and much sought Rolex Oyster Perpetual Milgauss 116400 white dial, a timepiece that's all kinds of zany. Introduced in 2007 and phased out around 2013, this watch, along with the non-GV crystal black dial model, already catching the eyes of collectors who realize how much other late model stainless steel Rolex sports watches have found the favor of collectors. A watch that's 40 millimeters in diameter and easy to wear on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It's also thinner than you expect, at 13 millimeters thick, and at 49 millimeters from lug to lug. It's a fascinating Rolex watch in that it's one of the few solid end link modern Rolex watches that does not actually get extended by the protuberance of the solid end link on either side. So the links don't protrude beyond the case. As a result, this watch is 49 millimeters lug to lug, and it wears 49 millimeters with the solid end links extended. The watch is also a fairly standard 20 millimeters between the lugs, and for some reason, this particular white dialed Milgauss is one of the most agreeable modern Rolex watches on an aftermarket strap, especially when you key to the yellow orange tones of the dial. Anything that's yellow or orange looks awesome on this watch. That said, the watch does have a lovely Rolex Oyster bracelet, and it is not an entry-level model. The Milgauss is an $8,200 watch. It's not an Oyster Perpetual. It's not an Air King. Its center links are all of high polish, and you can see that the shoulders are of satin for contrast. This is not one of the full satin bracelets. Removable links are fixed in place by screws for easy sizing, and then you have a beacon hook system inside the clasp. But note, the inside of the clasp is all of high polish. Again, not an entry-level watch. The beak and hook system allows you to snap the clasp shut, polished straight through with a raised crown, not an embossed and sunken crown. There is a lift trigger system that unlocks the clasp. It's not a friction fit system. There is also Easy Link internally, and so you have that 5 millimeter of tool-free adjustment that allows you to take in or take out the equivalent of one sizable link. You can also see that there are divots drilled inside the clasp, and those 3 divots allow you to change the anchoring point of the bracelet using a strap tool. So if you want to fine-tune without removing a link or even using Easy Link, you can definitely do that. There are quite a few degrees of articulation for that clasp. The case band is graceful, and as you can see, it's not quite the super case that you find on the GMTs, on the Submariners, the Explorer 2s. This is a jumbo Datejust case. If I had to describe it, I would say it is like a giant version of a Datejust case, meaning it actually has some fairly sexy lines, lascivious compound curvature, and then a nice blending of the case band into the conical high polished bezel. The bezel is relatively broad on this watch, and it frames a handsome no-date dial. Of course, this due to the all-encompassing internal iron cage that helps to bend magnetic field lines around the watch. The first Milgauss, released in 1955, and it was allegedly, Rolex claims, designed to help scientists at CERN, the European Cosmology and Particle Physics Lab, where high-powered electronics create high electromagnetic flux densities, or I should say dense flux densities. And the idea here is to continue on the work of that original. By the way, that lightning bolt seconds hand, that was on the original Milgauss. So although it appears postmodern and quirky, and it is a little bit postmodern and quirky, it's also true to history. The dial base is a gloss white, orange hashes and Arabic numerals outside, orange lacquered lightning bolt seconds hand. You have orange superluminova on blackened indices, which creates a startling contrast and a remarkable amount of whimsical color for modern Rolex. And then rather than a printed crown, you have an applique white gold crown up at 12 o'clock. A little bit more on the anti-magnetic traits of this watch. So you have that iron cage inside, and you have more than that. This watch is not Milgauss anti-magnetic. I suspect it is much, much more than that. It has an anti-magnetic escapement. It has the iron cage of the original Milgauss from the 50s, but it also has a niobium zirconium blue oxidized hairspring. And let's not forget that the 500,000 ampere per meter IWC Ingenieur of the 1980s also used a niobium zirconium alloy. And if you want to know what Milgauss comes out to, well, it would be 80,000 ampere per meter. So this watch has the same hairspring material as a well-known, if rare 500,000 ampere per meter watch, so I suspect this is much more than Milgauss resistant, and one of these days I'm going to test one in proximity to an MRI. Now the watch does have a Rolex manufacturer caliber on the inside, 3131, 31 joules, automatic winding, 48-hour power reserve, stop seconds, 28/8 beat rate, free spring balance, full balance bridge for shock resistance, over coil hairspring, so the watch keeps excellent time regulated in 5 positions. Any orientation with respect to gravity, good timekeeping, the better to pass the Swiss COSC chronometer test, which this watch has. 100 meters water resistant. Of course, you have that anti-magnetic handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring. This is one of the most unusual modern Rolex watches, and in its way, it's just as daring as the later Milgauss Z Blue. This one, however, is just discontinued, whereas the Z Blue remains available. See it and make it yours on the watch box. Rolex Milgauss. As you can see, the orange lume is blue by night, and the clear lume on the hands is bright green, making for an interesting contrast.